What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of How to Do Shit. We got a 2019 model year here. GM, Chevy, Cadillac, trucks, and SUVs, master cylinders. I'm pretty sure they're all going to use the same shit. Master cylinders on this year range are going out left and right. Don't know why. Probably manufacturers cheaped out on shit because they don't give a fuck about customers. But let's get to it. First step, master cylinder. Let's flip the camera. Before we remove the old master cylinder, let's prep this one. Now, it should take you about 15-20 minutes to prep this one correctly. It's not like an old school master cylinder. It has a special procedure. Don't fuck it up because you might be replacing your master cylinder again. So make sure you get a lifetime warranty one because they're all junk. We're gonna pour up to in between the max and min line with our brake fluid. I got this premium Wagner .3 brake fluid. .3 is what go in these. On my Amazon store, go to my Amazon store and buy some stuff so I can get commission. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. Anyways, I got a lot of credit card debt to pay off, so if you buy something, I appreciate it. So you're supposed to fill this up and wait for it to start dribbling out. But you know, customers supplied this from AutoZone. It came from AutoZone, so whatever. I'll just put my fingers on it. Screw it. So we'll fill this up. Fun fact of the day. Did you know that brake fluid is not hydroscopic, hydrogropic? I don't know. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm just a basic dumb wrencher. So anyways, it's just supposed to dribble out. See how it's like pouring out? I guess we're good to go. That is not what the book said would happen. Whatever. Alright, we're going to put our block off plug in. Seeing how it's dripping out. Pouring out. Whatever. Alright, next one. It's pouring out. It's pouring out. Look at that. It's just straight up pissing. The book told me it would dribble. Liars. And you would have to wait till you got to dribble. At least that's what happened with the last one I did. Alright, so we're going to take a blunt tool. You'll see there's a little divot in your master cylinder. This is, this is the piston that presses in. We're going to press that in slowly, about an inch. About a ½ inch to an inch. Whew. And this is a lot. That's awfully a lot of tension there. Lots of tension. I don't like the way that feels in my hand. I'm just going to use a screwdriver. Screw it. Grab the old snappy boy. Now, they say, so this is prepping the master cylinder. And they say press it in no more than an inch. And I can't get an inch out of it. That's what she said. So, I'm a tough guy. And I'm pressing it in. I'm pressing. I can't get an inch out of it. What if we loosen this guy? I like that better because we're getting the air out of the system. This is not how the book says to do it, but common sense overrides the labor guide. So it says, press the piston in no more than an inch, slowly, and you should see air bubbles come up. I'm not seeing no air bubbles come up, but this is aftermarket AutoZone. Whatever, we'll rock and roll with it. So I'll do it like I would usually do a master cylinder. We're trying to get the air all out of the master cylinder, right? So this is tight, right? We'll loosen it. We'll press it in, and I see the fluid in the air coming out. Now I'll close it and then release off the bore. And we'll do that this will be for the rear brakes. So we do the rear brakes first and then the front brakes. All right, we only got one little air bubble there. So we're gonna do this till we get no air bubbles because this master cylinder is not working like the book says. One little air bubble there, just one. And we're just gonna do that over and over again. Let her dribble out a little bit, press it. I didn't see no air bubbles there. Close it. So we're gonna do like 2 more of those just to make sure there's no air coming out no more. All right, so usually what I would bust out is a little bleeder kit. It attaches to these ports, has a hose that goes back to the master cylinder. So any air will get trapped up in the hose and fluid will return into the reservoir. That's the way I would usually do it. All right, we got all the air out of this one. We're gonna do the same thing to this one. You don't need to see all that. Quick breakdown, this fits Cadillac Escalade, 2015 to 20, Silverado 1500, 14 to 19, Suburban 15 to 20, 15 to 20 on the Tahoe, 14 to 18 on the Sierra, 2019 1500 limited only. That's crazy. 2015 to 2020 Yukon and Yukon XL. I love using my commercial accounts and Rock Auto to just cross and see what part fits what real quick. So I know this video is going to apply to all of them. This one is an easy one to do, guys. See this little red clicker tab? Pull that back, squeeze it, and pull your level sensor off. Just like that. And we're gonna grab this 15 millimeter and loosen our brake line fittings. And we're gonna keep that cap on. We wanna lose as little fluid as possible. Yes, you can extract the brake fluid before you start, but by not taking that cap off, it's going to kind of create a vacuum effect so that we don't lose as much fluid. I've got the 2 plugs that came with the master cylinder for shipping. I've got a bunch of random block offs and caps and stuff anyways if it didn't come with it, because I want to get both these lines off and then cap our lines. We're going to do this without bleeding the full system. That's considered unprofessional, but if the pedal feels good and there's no air in the system, why not run it? And if the pedal doesn't feel good, then we'll do a full bleed. And with these GMs especially, I like to do a ABS dump valve bleed with my scan tool if I'm gonna bleed anyways, just, you know, to be safe. That's an extra step that you probably don't have to do. I got a really good scan tool for like 60 bucks in my Amazon store, the Top Scan. It will do bi-directional functions like ABS bleeding. See how we cap that off? Boom. And you see how it's not dripping out like the other master cylinder? Because we got a vacuum effect going on here. We'll go ahead and get our back line loosened now that we got that sensor and the other line out the way. And because this is so new, it's a treat to work on. No rusty lines. And the fittings are nice and clean. Everything's coming off good. You gotta love it. So we're starting to see the 2019s and 2020s roll in. Most vehicles come with that 100,000 mile, 5-year limited warranty. And so yeah, now that the dealerships aren't taking care of as many 2019s anymore, we're starting to see them come in. And it is just so nice getting to work on something so clean. Gotta love it. I don't know if I mentioned it, but this is a 6.2 liter Cadillac Escalade specifically working on. I did mention what other vehicles this would work for. They got the same exact master cylinder and setup. So once we get these 2 lines off, we just got to worry about this, and this, and that'll do it. And I'll show you how to bleed the little bit of air pocket out of here so you don't have to go around to all 4 wheels and bleed. But never a bad idea to do it anyways. This one is actually coming out of the master cylinder. Oh, no, we just lost the fluid that was in the port. That's all. Try to keep these lines upwards and capped off so there's as little air as possible getting into the system. We have this little hold down bracket that is attached to this wire and nothing on the other side. So we're just gonna wham bam extender with, I'd say, a 15 millimeter. Let me grab that. Nope. A little too long. That's what she said. Oh, she's on there tight, baby. Come on. Ooh. Oh, yeah. All right, so we don't want to take that nut all the way off. We just want to break it free. That way this thing's not all wiggly jiggly while we're breaking this one free. Oh yeah, easy peasy. I don't like to take the impact of things right away, you know, just in case. Now we're safe to zip them off. We know nothing's gonna snap. I don't want to drop my nuts. Might go disappear on me, so careful with that. I heard it hit the floor. Look, I even said something, I still dropped it. What a goofball. Now we go ahead and give this the old wiggle jiggle. We got that little wire with the clamp out. Come on, buddy. Come on. This thing is supposed to pop just right out of here. As you can see, it's giving us some trouble. Let's grab a screwdriver and pry bar. Oh, damn. Whew. We still had a little vacuum from the engine. I did not expect that. I don't know if that was giving us a little bit of a suction effect, keeping the master cylinder from coming out. I assume that's what was going on. And there we go. Clean off your surface. This one is already nice and clean. Nothing to clean off. This little guy, make sure he's nice and centered. You got a spring and you got this rod that presses in the piston of the master cylinder. Let's grab our new master. I just recovered that nut. It was easy to find. Didn't even have to grab a magnet or bend over. All was pleasant. So we're gonna keep our block off ports in the master cylinder. Just leave those on. Slip this guy on there. There is an O-ring on these. It keeps the seal. And make sure it looks like it's going on straight with that plunger inside the booster. And then we'll finger our nuts just like that. Put our little plate on for the wire harness. All right, I just like to get them on there finger tight so I have a little bit of wiggle jiggle in my master cylinder. It just helps having a little wiggle to get these lines back on. We're gonna start with the back line here, and I'm going to take that little cap I put on off, put my finger over it. I don't want to lose any fluid at all, or as little as possible. Other hand, it's tight. Take this block off of here. And with the cap on, it should run out slower than we saw on the vise. Should, but it's not really. Do not cross thread these. Brake lines and power steering lines. They're the easiest lines to cross thread. But luckily, these trucks and SUVs have pretty coarse fittings, and it's harder to do. Go ahead and tighten this line all the way down. And we're gonna do the same story for this side, and I'll get back at you. All right, we got both of our lines attached. Both of them. Now we go ahead and loosen these lines just a little bit. You know, half a turn or so, till you see a drip coming. Take off the cap, and it may flow a little faster, a little better. We're just letting some of that fluid just naturally kind of gravity out, and whatever air was caught between here and here and here and here hopefully comes out through the threads or the smooth part inside the fitting and the nut and the line. So we're just going to let it just drip for a little bit while I top off the fluid. And also tighten up the nuts. Obviously you don't want to impact these nuts. So we bring it down to our lowest torque setting on the impact, and we just snug them. We'll start with one side, the easiest side to get to, and then go over to the other side. That wasn't quite snug, but just kind of flushed everything up. And then we check hand torque and just get them nice and tight. There's no reason to look up torque specs on this. Just make sure that it's tight. That's good. We'll go to the next one. Beautiful. And we can go ahead and leave this sensor off so we have more swinging room for our wrench. Just leave that puppy right there. And for brake fluid cleanup, all you need is water. It's hygroscopic, means it absorbs water. When you straight up out of the air, when you straight up just put water on it, that brake fluid will disappear. That's all you need. You don't need brake cleaner, but you can use brake cleaner if you want to. I'm not your mom. All right, I got a helper to press the brake pedal for me. I tightened down the line that goes to the front brakes. We're gonna bleed the rear brakes first, and I'm not really expecting to get much air out of this. Now slowly to the floor, Cohen. And as he's pressing it to the floor, I am going to tighten this fitting. Boom. Ooh, this one's not all the way tight. Some air just came out. Did you hear that? Why is this leaking fluid all over? Oh, it might have just been run down from that. It just... Stupid AutoZone master cylinders. That fitting's tight and it's not cross-threaded. Ugh! I should not have to torque it down that tight to get a seal. Release, Cohen. But some air did come out of it, so that's a good sign. You can go ahead and do that. Now slowly to the floor, nice and easy. There we go, we just got one fart out of it. Oh, I just heard another fart as I started to tighten, that's good. Release. And we'll wait a second. And then we'll open her back up. Slowly to the floor. And we want to see 2 pumps with no farts. Oh, I heard a fart. Release.
Release.
Slowly.
Forward.
Yeah, that other fitting is not sealing 100%. It went in perfectly fine. Stupid Duralast parts. Release.
Release.
This might all be just a waste of time. Slowly to the floor. All right, we got no fart there. No air pockets in the system. Release.
Release.
Give me a slow one.
Forward.
Tried to close it off before we got all the way to the floor. Go ahead and release, Cohen.
Release.
Make sure we're still good on fluid. We're about halfway, right on the min arrow. All right, Cohen, pump it up 5 times and hold it. This is gonna be our final check here. See how much pressure we got out of that master. No air. That is nice pressure. So the only thing we're worried about is if any air pockets travel down the line. But I think we got all the air out with that kind of gravity type bleed. All right, go ahead and pump it up. I want to check this other fitting. Yeah, it's got a slight leak. Hold it down. Ooh, good pressure. And I'm going to explain to you guys how I knew the master cylinder was bad. So it had soft brakes. Release. It had soft brakes, and I did this exact same thing. On the front one, it would not stop giving me air bubbles. Every single time I opened it and somebody hit the brake pedal, there was air every single time. And then on this back fitting, it just had a complete lack of pressure. It was barely coming out. So I knew we weren't getting pressure from a master cylinder, and it's a common problem on these models and year ranges that I mentioned before. Are you released?
Yep.
All right. Go ahead, give me a slow one. I think oh, there was definitely a fart right there. Release. No air bubbles 2 times in a row. Now give me that 5 pump and hold. That was a nice pressurized spray. That's what we're looking for. Now, we need to make sure this fitting isn't leaking, so I'm gonna really reef it. Might as well get the other one nice and reefed. Nothing like a little reefer. There we go. And we need to make sure it's not leaking. So I'll fill up the fluid reservoir, clean off all the moisture around here, and then we'll go back to filming. So I gave it a water bath, and then you blow it off or just let it air dry, wipe it off, whatever. I have a bunch of blower tools in my Amazon store. I love to use brake cleaner and then hit it with this to insta dry any fluids. And then we're confident that our master cylinder is nice and dry of moisture. Take a fresh rag. I got my helper in there holding the pedal down so we got maximum pressure. We're gonna go ahead and put a towel, fresh towel, right underneath. We want 0% seepage. I've seen leaks so slow it took a year for the reservoir to go dry. But we go underneath there. Do we have any spots? You see that spot right there? That's not good. Stupid AutoZone. Go to this one. Let's see if we got a spot. Looks like we got a little moisture there. But we want to be 100% confident it's not some sort of residual crap. Now this is something I almost never run into, the slow seepage from the fittings, even though everything's brand new. You can see I reefed on it enough that I started distorting the hex. And I feel like we're not sealed up yet. That's what my intuition, my mechanic instinct tells me. Listen to your gut, people. All right, so go ahead and pump it a few times going. Oh, look at that towel. Got just the tiniest bit of moisture, and I'm really not sure if there's some sort of residual moisture. If I put my finger on the whole master cylinder, it feels nice and dry. See, no moisture there. But every time I put my towel right up to the threads, because it'll kind of just stick in those threads, it'll take a long time before you get a drip when the fitting's just extremely slow seepage. With a system this clean, it's not something you're typically expecting to see. But see that little wet spot? Every time I put the towel down there, there's a little wet spot. That's not good. I'm gonna grab my line wrenches and grab a 15 line wrench and give it a little more reef, and that ought to seal it up. But if it doesn't seal up, then we're gonna have to inspect the fittings and inspect the master cylinder to see what the hell's really going on here. All right, so that last little reef got it completely sealed up. I had Cohen pump the pedal 10 times and then hold it as tight as he could for 30 seconds. So that's way more pressure than any average driving would ever give you. After I reefed it, sprayed it down with brake cleaner, used my little tool, wiped it off with a rag, and then had him do those steps, you know, press it 10 times, hold it as hard as you can, put the towel underneath of it with my fingernail, pushing it through those threads, and no moisture at all this time. So now we're good, just a shitty seal. But that is how to change and bleed a master cylinder. He says the brake pedal feels, we didn't have to bleed no lines, no ABS, nothing like that. Now, take it for a test drive afterwards. All right, don't take my word for everything. Take it for a test drive. I've got a nice big yard. I can always test all kinds of crap out and make sure, you know, pretend a deer jumps out in front of you. And make sure that the brakes are working just as good or better than they were from the factory. I mean, brakes are important. Liability issue. I'm 100% confident those fittings finally sealed up. Brake pedal is, tight. And we're done. So my son just said, those are the tightest brakes I've ever felt in my life. And he's been helping me bleed brakes since he was 5 years old. I said, well, bud, it's a brand new master cylinder. It has 0 miles on it, so that makes sense. I take it for my test drive, right? I've got to agree with them. I think they're the tightest brakes I've ever felt in my life. There's no air in the system. Master cylinder change, no bleeding from any of the bleeders. I do it like that every time, and 9 times out of 10, you don't have to crack no brake line fittings. You don't have to do an ABS bleed. If you do it just like that, and you're careful that no air goes down in the lines or gets pushed in the line through the force of the master cylinder. That's why we go with nice slow pedal for those first couple. Boom, just like that.